Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Yesterday, with the motions denied that was heard all around the world, it was a big, heavy day, I think, for a lot of people who have been following this case. I mean, obviously a huge loss and setback for Justin Baldoni, but also doesn't really prove anything that Blake has been claiming. I mean, they took a massive swing at the New York Times, at Ryan Reynolds, Leslie Sloan, and Blake Lively for defamation, but they really made sure that she was protected under these very specific laws. So defamation was going to be hard to prove, and they already knew probably going in that suing the New York Times, I mean, that's a huge, huge swing. But as I said yesterday, the silver lining is we all know what happened. Like, now we have the information and we can see crystal clear. So today what we're going to do is just go over a few hot topics that are swirling around and just a few things that have been going on in the courts today that have to do with Brett and Aiko, the game developers in Montreal that Ryan Reynolds, as well as his partner Rob McElhenney, stole from them. You know, they did the same thing. It's a pattern, and we're going to talk about it. But first, just some hot headlines, and it's all going to do with it ends with never. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Grab your emotional lip gloss, girlies and boys, because we are going in. You are in frame with Mandy Magnan. Yesterday, Blake Lively's team took a victory lap, I guess. It was the most unhinged. It's so crazy. The amount of lies and gaslighting and absolutely deranged BS coming out of this side of the team is like jaw on the ground. What is going on? Absolutely absurd. And before we get into it, I just want to quickly pull up the court's ruling and then completely go over Blake's absolutely delusional victory run, per se victory run. And then we're going to get right into it because my, oh my, they really think that people are just that dumb. Like, we don't actually read the court dockets. And I'm really starting to believe that Blake Lively herself doesn't even read them. Because to read the court dockets of what happened, the opinions and motions from the judge yesterday, and then to parade around the way her and her team did to absolutely try to gaslight the public to think something completely different is so nuts. But let's just quickly just look at the judge's ruling because it is just so, oh my gosh, at this point it's absolutely laughable. We have to be in some kind of like, this is all fake. Like, this cannot be real. We must be in a simulation because Blake is living in a whole other world and it's not this one, and I don't think it's in reality. And that's probably why she didn't want her medical records seen, because that girl is another form of Delulu, and it's just let's go, okay? Right here, last page, Blake, okay? So maybe you just gotta read a few more pages before you get there, sweetheart, okay? It literally says, motion for fees. Reynolds, Sloan, and Vision PR have moved for an award for attorney fees and costs pursuant to New York's anti-SLAPP law, New York civil rights law. Lively has moved for an award of attorney fees, treble damages, and punitive damage pursuant to California Civil Code. The court denies the motion without prejudice to renewal in accordance with the ruling here. The court has ruled that the law applicable to the claims against Reynolds and Sloan cannot be determined absent further factual development. The court has not ruled on whether Lively's statements were privileged under California Civil Code 47.1. Meaning, he didn't even look at all those amicus briefs. He wasn't even talking about that. This was based just off what the Wayfarer did or didn't put now into their amended complaint. It has nothing to do with this anti-SLAPP California 47.1. It literally says it there. However, Snake Lively, being the self-centered, egotistical, narcissistic, sociopath that she is, decided to put this on her Instagram. Last week, I stood proudly alongside 19 organizations united in defending women's rights to speak up for their safety. Like so many others, I felt the pain of a retaliatory lawsuit, including the manufactured shame that tries to break us. While the suit against me was defeated, so many don't have resources to fight back. I'm more resolved than ever to continue to stand for every woman's right to have a voice in protecting themselves, including their safety, their integrity, their dignity, and their story. There are protections out there. Check out some of the incredible organizations below for resources and information. With love and gratitude for the many who stood by me. Many of you I know, many of you I don't, but I will never stop appreciating or advocating for you. And then tags the freaking... Listen here, Blake. Listen here, girl. Women don't want you advocating for us. Your whole rebrand here, you were a bros girl, right? You were the one, when you said, what's the funniest movie? What was your answer? Shawshank Redemption. When you were asked, out of all the people that play in Sex and the City, what character do you relate to the most? And you said the men. Or, we could go back to all of the It Ends With Us if you just want to leave it at It Ends With Us. Huh? How you're toxic masculinity. These are all words that you've said. This is who you were. You're Blake Lively, no teeth Lively, right? Ball buster, but with no teeth. You were the bros girl, right? Chummy, joke. Everything's hilarious. Everything's sexual. Everything's over the top. Everything's like, yeah, I'm cool. And now your whole rebrand, you're so far deep into victimhood that your whole rebrand is you're going to be an advocate for all women, all survivors, all victims. Well, I'm telling you, we don't want you. We don't. Okay, sweetheart. Unbelievable, this statement. Considering some of those advocacy groups, and not all of it's been found out yet, your lawyers sit on the board of directors. And most of them you've paid donations to. You paid for that, girl. You're literally like your lawyers sit on the board of directors. As well as some of the advocacy groups used to work with your lawyers. It's just hilarious. But even more hilarious than that is Blake Lively. If you were a true storyteller, if you were a true artist, if you knew anything about script writing and storytelling, which you don't because you haven't wrote any movies yourself, you just like to come in and take other movies, other people's work, which you've also admitted to, you would know about the 3-act structure and what is a false win, a false victory. Do you know? You would know the moment of the bad guys close in and all is lost. That's Justin Baldoni right now. The big hit, all is lost. What is he going to do? Well, right before that moment, guess what happens after? He comes back and triumphs. Yeah, but let's just look at the all is lost moment because I think it's what everyone was feeling yesterday. But this is how every movie is written. Every story is told. There is always 3 acts to every story, and it doesn't just go linear to win, okay? You go up and down and then up and then you take it. So let's just look. This is Storytelling 101. This is from Save the Cat, and I'm going to read exactly the moment that we were all in yesterday. Right before the all is lost moment, there is a moment of momentum called the bad guys close in, and that's exactly what it sounds like, the bad guys closing in. And that was Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds posting all of those motions for sanctions, those motions to compel, this, that, using the media, talking to People magazine every day, yeah? The bad guys were closing in because don't be fooled here. Okay, the protagonist here is definitely Justin Baldoni. Okay, the antagonist and the monsters is definitely Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and all of their little dragons. The all is lost moment. As addressed above, the all is lost point occurs on page 75 of a good, well-structured screenplay. We know it is the opposite of the midpoint in terms of an up or down. It is also the point of the script most often labeled false defeat. For even though all looks black, it's just temporary, but it seems like a total defeat. All aspects of the heroes' lives are in shambles. Wreckage abounds, no hope. That's the all is lost point in every single story. So we already had the midpoint break in Act 2, and that's when Justin, this is a little reversed here, but that's when Justin fought back. He refiled his stuff. He was on top. Then they started going into the debate. Then the midpoint, it seemed like what was going on, it was all static. And then the bad guys were closing in, and then the all is lost point. But you know what happens now to the hero? They climb back up. They have an epiphany. They change. The old world is gone. And now they're stuck now with this new world where everything's upside down, and they fight for their rights. And they come out, they beat the bad guy, and they win. I mean, there is so much more to it than that, of course, but story breakdown says. So to go and have this really weird, diabolical, fake defeat when you're literally claiming that it's because of the advocacy groups, when the judge himself wrote that it had nothing to do with that, is so delusional. But now they're going to go, it just follows story structure. And for her to know that, like, the battle isn't won, like nothing, she didn't win anything yesterday. Yes, it was a huge setback for Justin, and he lost, right? Like, yes, there has to be a winner. I guess Blake, everything was dismissed. So I guess there is a win there, but it's not over. And it has nothing to do with the California Code 47.1 that the advocacy groups were filing their amici briefs on. It's so freaking strange. Very weird. And there's more. Even to the point that her own lawyers were on CNN talking about this is so delulu. It's so crazy, but let's check out what they have to say.
So how did Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds react to hearing that the defamation suit against her and her husband has just been dismissed?
It's a day of vindication, Jake, and thanks for having me, by the way. They're vindicated. They are gratified. They are grateful to the individuals and organizations that have stood by Ms. Lively as she's pursued these claims, and they are determined, Ms. Lively is determined to see her claims through, which are not dismissed and will go on to a trial that's set for next year, but she's determined to see her claims through and to pursue them to have a full public accountability of what she has alleged happened to her.
And one of the things that's so fascinating and also disturbing about this case is how much the internet...
Right. Her claims are still going forward. She hasn't proved anything. Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair people and Brian Freedman and all of their lawyers and everyone involved knew that being a plaintiff and going for those charges and those allegations was huge. Huge. Taking on the New York Times, cray, right? But they still did it. And it's just this victory lap. Oh my gosh, I was just shaking. I'm still like, y'all.
It is a role with people trying to get out information to smear, and there was a very orchestrated campaign to smear Blake Lively and Ryan.
There was no campaign. There's no campaign. None of us are being paid. Nobody has been communicating with Wayfair. I mean, I would be shocked if now it came out. I mean, most of the content creators that were named in Blake Lively's CRD have already come out and been like, yo, they didn't ask me to do nothing. This isn't a paid review of Miss Blake Lively. We're doing this because we read all of the claims, and it's clear as day what happened, and it's a pattern for Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Reynolds to a lesser extent. What was that like? What was it like going through that as her attorney?
Yeah, the complaint that Ms. Lively filed alleges that a retaliatory campaign was launched against her back around the time that the movie was released in August of 2024. That campaign was sort of written out in a planning document of exactly the kinds of activities and stories that would be planted about Ms. Lively, to accuse her of weaponizing feminism, to accuse her of exploiting people. And
how did you get those messages? I'm waiting. How did you get those documents? Waiting. Right.
All designed to discredit her, to silence her. It was a campaign that really took a toll on Miss Lively and a number of other individuals that were really roped into this and harmed by this campaign.
Well, you heard it first. It really took a toll on Miss Lively. Yeah, we saw it. Wow, the emotional distress that she was under and that she's been under for all of these months. Yeah, I really saw it in August that just, oh my gosh, the emotional toll it took on her. I really saw that. And then in September and October and November, and let's not talk about these last 5 months. I mean, wow, that must have been just so hard, going through all of the Another Simple Favor and doing more, promoting more of your hair care line and your Betty Boo's line and coming out with new fragrances and new alcohol. And it must have been so hard going to the SNL 50, and it must have been super hard going to the Time Gala and doing all of these things. And wow, you're just so busy. I couldn't see past your pain and trauma, I guess, and how much this took a toll on you to celebrate with you. Yeah, because, wow. Yeah, she really, you can tell, it really took a toll on her. Like, oh my gosh, these last few months, you can tell she is so severely traumatized and going through so much pain and having to process all of this. I mean, it's so obvious, right? Give me a break. And now there's a lot of rumbling here, and I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, well, Blake's probably going to withdraw her complaint now that she doesn't have to fight this other one. She's going to withdraw it, and she's going to play victim of the year, and she's going to be like, I've just been through so much emotional stress. It's just been so hard on me that I just can't do it anymore. I can't be the voice for women. I can't be the voice for survivors. The toll it has taken on me and my beautiful husband who loves me so much. Ryan Reynolds loves me so much. And yeah, I can't do it anymore. And I'm just going to withdraw my claims because it's just caused me so much damage. That's what people are assuming are going to happen. Or of course, I'm paraphrasing, right? I don't think so. I really think unless the Wayfair people are going to come back on the 23rd and they're going to have some things to say. But I think Blake Lively is so far gone at this point and so absolutely cray-cray in her mind. I fully believe that she thinks that she is a champion for women and the advocate of women for 2025, and that this whole rebrand and relaunch is going to propel her into whatever she decides to get her claws on next. I literally don't think that she will withdraw unless she is absolutely being demolished in discovery and in her deposition. She needs to know that she is going to lose badly in order for her to withdraw those claims. And of course she's going to, because they're not true. There's no proof. Justin Baldoni has all the footage. He has all the B-roll. He has probably cast, crew, statements, more evidence. We haven't seen even one text message yet from Blake to anyone other than calling Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath creeps and clowns and talking about how they're not going to hug you anymore. What is going on? And the reason why the judge hasn't ruled or dismissed any of Blake's claims is because the Wayfair people haven't asked to be dismissed. They want this to go to a jury. They want to prove their innocence. They didn't cry and ask to be dismissed. They want to fight. They have the evidence, the truth, and God behind them, and they are going to fight this. And I don't think they are going to settle. I think they want to clear their name as best as possible and hopefully move on from this, because it's absolutely unhinged. You just read it and you could just tell, like, she took all of these little things that are not even serious, like are not even harassing things, these conversations that probably Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath had with her in good faith of being a producer on the set and being the lead and being so open and friendly and sending them 14-page text messages and building this relationship of XXX, 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 right? And all of her text messages. Oh, I'm a ball buster. I'm this, I'm that. I'm a bro, yo. I'm a bro. So they opened up to her and they thought that they can trust her and have these conversations, artistic conversations that, yes, do involve consent. Yes, do involve sex. Yes, do involve whatever, because that's what It Ends With Us does, is talks about DV, talks about consent, talks about all of these things. Hello. She took creative conversations and twisted them on their head. And to have one of her pieces of evidence be a text message to another co-star saying, don't worry, they're not going to hug you anymore. Oh my gosh. Ew. Gross, gross, gross. But it's okay, y'all, because as I said yesterday, silver lining is I knew Brian Freedman was going to be ready for this. The claims and the allegations and what they did, those were massive hits. They must have had a contingency plan and a backup plan if and when these got dismissed. And they did, because Brian Freedman has spoken. He let, Blake's team do their little victory lap or whatever. And then he came out, and what he has to say is chef's kiss. Brian Freedman made a statement today, Tuesday morning, and he fired back. And he says, Miss Lively and her team's predictable declaration of victory is false. So let us be clear about the latest ruling. While the court dismissed the defamation-related claims, the court has invited us to amend 4 out of the 7 claims against Miss Lively, which will showcase additional evidence and refined allegations. Brian Freedman went on to say, this case is about false accusations of sexual harassment and retaliation, and a non-existent smear campaign, which Miss Lively's own team conveniently describes as untraceable because they cannot prove what never happened. He then continues, and this is probably my favorite part, because he says, most importantly, Miss Lively's own claims are no truer today than they were yesterday. And with the facts on our side, we march forward with the same confidence that we had when Miss Lively and her cohorts initiated this battle, and look forward to her forthcoming deposition, which I will be taking. Yes, sir. There you go. Of course, Brian Freedman's going to take it. Y'all remember how Blake Lively tried to make a request to the judge that Brian Freedman not be the one to depose her? It's just so silly. And now moving on to Miss Liz Plank, feminist, abufulous, whatever, the pick-me of 2024 and continues into 2025. Miss Pick-me, well, she had someone comment on her little thing. I guess she started a new podcast. She's come out and said she's been working on it for over a year. Interesting, because a year ago you were still doing the Man Enough podcast with Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath. So, interesting. You've been working on your own little thing for over a year. I wonder if Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively had anything to do with that. Okay. Anyway, she's like, what's a boy's problem that a girl can fix, or something stupid. Anyway, asking about these boy problems. That's the name of her new podcast, I guess. Something like that. And somebody wrote, I just saw the funniest boy problem get dismissed by a federal judge in New York. Is just right. LMFAO. Laugh my effing butt off. But it's okay, because the comments did not disappoint it. They are just going off because, Liz, is this the kind of friend you wouldn't even wish on your worst enemy? Cringe, LOL, fake feminine. Why don't you go to therapy and learn to manage your childish behavior, because it isn't cute. We see you. And now I guess it's just a matter of time before she closes her comments, I suppose. But Liz Plank, I think you've gotten away pretty scotch-free so far, and I think it's just a matter of time before people start really, really tying you in. I know there were already some ties with you and Ryan Reynolds and the Wrexham Club and how he paid you. Okay, straight away. Got you on that Wrexham thing to do Lord knows what. Honestly, cringe. But I think this wasn't good. And now, speaking of cringe, the captain of Cringe Town, Ryan Reynolds, he got replaced in, the Deadpool game. I guess they have replaced Ryan Reynolds' voice with Neil Patrick Harris. And, he made a really funny joke at him. But is it really funny? I mean, he calls him like a butthole or something. But anyway, this was his response to Neil Patrick Harris coming on as the Deadpool voice. And it is cringe.
Today, I learned a lesson about buttholes they don't teach you in medical school. People who steal your signature role are the biggest buttholes of all. No, I don't blame MetaQuest. Neil Patrick Harris is an amazing actor with the nurturing voice of an angel. But even though I haven't hit puberty yet, I still know when you're getting totally screwed.
So you think that's cringe that he's acting like, Dougie from, Neil Patrick Harris when he was younger, his biggest show. No, look who shows up. Robin Lively, Blake Lively's sister. Yeah, because she used to be on that show, I guess. So, let's try to make Robin Lively famous again with Ryan.
My girlfriend, what are you doing here? My dad sees you here. He's gonna freak.
You're a 48-year-old man.
I'm a 14-year-old medical prodigy who's going through the change.
Are you talking about puberty?
Robin, you're being paid.
This is vindictive and stupid.
I disagree with that, Di.
Right. This is vindictive and stupid, like everything that Ryan Reynolds touches. Anyway, it gets worse. Then they go through the game, la-di-da-di-da, the game. And then the ending is just... What? Why would you put this in here? It's so bizarre. This is the ending to this little spoof video.
No, I don't think we should do that because
You're so
my
dumb.
sister-in-law.
He tries to kiss, even if that was a joke, trying to kiss Blake's sister. Ugh, I just thought that was so cringy, unnecessary. Why can't he just come out and support someone and say, congratulations, I fully support you. You're an amazing dude, da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever. No, has to, ugh. And I don't even want to show the whole picture of the cake here. But although I do think, obviously, any replacement from Ryan Reynolds is probably a good thing in the Deadpool franchise, especially for this video game and everything happening right now, let's not forget Neil Patrick Harris did some pretty cringe things too when he had a Halloween party months after Amy Winehouse's death and had an entire cake made that looked exactly like her corpse. And I'm not going to show the whole picture here. You can Google it. But looked exactly like her corpse, an Amy Winehouse corpse that people were supposed to eat off. Gross, weird, distasteful, sickening, if you ask me. Nothing is funny about that. She had just passed just a few months prior. And they thought, hey, what better way to celebrate Amy Winehouse's life than to have a whole rotting corpse made that looks exactly like her on the morgue table. What's wrong with people in Hollywood? I swear to gosh, I always want to be in Hollywood my whole life, and the more I find out about everyone, I'm like, I don't think, I just don't know. Are there any good people left that want to make movies that are good people? Yeah, the Wayfair people. My gosh. And look what's happening to them. Nice, kind, decent human beings who started their own studio so that they could get away from Hollywood. And look what's happened to them. And I know for sure one person who is so happy they're dismissed from the case because they are being sued in another lawsuit. And that is Leslie Sloan. Yes, Leslie Sloan is being sued by a Davis-Benz. This was filed on October 21st of 2024. And it was filed in labor and employment for wrongful termination against Vision PR. And well, as what I thought was kind of interesting in this filing is there is defendants does 1 through 10. Interesting here. But yeah, she's in a whole other lawsuit right now too. So this girl, she's probably so happy she got dismissed from this one so she can focus on that one. And you know, not a good look. Not in a good look that you're being sued all over the place for being nasty. And last but not least, I just want to talk about something sad that happened today, another ruling from Judge Lyman. So if you haven't seen my last 2 videos, not the last ones, but my 2 videos I did on Brett Douglas McDowell as well as Aitco, please go and watch them, okay? Because they are so important. It shows a clear pattern from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds doing this over and over and over again. And as we know in the court filings, they've been trying to get whatever discovery comes from Marvel, whatever happens, they've been trying to, you know, get their hands on some of that. So after this came out yesterday in the courts that they were dismissing everything as well as the subpoena for Marvel Entertainment. So that's now out the window. Brett Douglas McDowell and his company filed an intervener's request to reserve ruling on Rule 24 motion pending amended complaint and reaffirmation of relevance of dog pool, nice pool, and related claims. This is their 4th filing in this court now. They are super invested, of course, in the discovery of what happens here because the same things, if not worse, if not better, if not anything, the same pattern happened to them and they are still fighting right now. They filed this with the courts and just asked the intervener's request to reserve ruling on Rule 24 motion pending amended complaint and reaffirmation of relevance of dog pool, nice pool, and related claims. I write in connection with the pending Rule 24 motion for permissive intervention and the supplemental notice submitted on June 2nd, 2025. In light of the court June 9th, 2025 order dismissing the first amended complaint without prejudice and granting the Wayfair parties leave to amend by June 23rd, I respectfully request that the court reserve judgment on my Rule 24 motion until the amended complaint is submitted. The court's order acknowledged that the original pleadings lacked sufficient factual clarity and legal structure. As the forthcoming amended complaint may incorporate legal theories or specific factual narratives concerning the characters Deadpool, Dogpool, and Nicepool, or related forms of symbolic retaliation, claims already raised in detail in my prior filings, I submit this letter to preserve my standing interest and affirm the continued relevance of my intervention. This request is made solely to ensure that my rights and position, particularly with respect to materials, themes, and identity-based harmed already on the record, are not overlooked or foreclosed as the case evolves. I appreciate the court's attention and respectfully request that no ruling on my motion be made until the amended complaint is available for review. Well, Judge Lehman came back immediately almost and literally just said that for the reasons that follows, the motion is denied. It's denied. You will not be intervening. And basically just says because he had dismissed Ryan Reynolds from his nice pool character, that bitch is being opinionated, that, you know, this doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, he denied this motion. So the motion to intervene is denied. And we can go over exactly all of the motions here, but they cannot intervene as of right. He has no protectable interest in this action and no interest that will be impaired by the deposition of this action. So just like that, pretty crummy. Wow. And not Blake Lively again with her lawyers asking that the Wayfair people get sanctioned under Rule 11. If he was going to sanction, he would have done that. Nowhere in the judge's ruling did they say that their claim was baseless, that it was frivolous, that it was wasting the court's time, that they're doing this, you know, in order to just move or, you know, push back discovery or try to get out of anything, or like any of the claims weren't good. And now she's literally filed on the same day another motion for sanctions. The same motion for sanctions is insane. Let's just read a few of it. I just opened this, so I haven't read it, guys. This is like fresh, you know, but I don't want to read the whole thing because I am so tired of Blake. In their half-hearted opposition, the Rule 11 plaintiffs do not even attempt to demonstrate any factual or legal basis for their claims, much less dispute that the claims were brought for the improper purpose of seeding, harassing media narratives against Miss Lively. They do not defend their claims, and they do not defend their purpose, effectively conceding that their claims are baseless with their purpose improper. The crew of their claims is that they claim are subject to dismissal in Miss Lively's Rule 12 motion and were in fact dismissed earlier today. They cannot be sanctioned for bringing them. But this argument is self-evidently absurd because if accepted, it would mean that Rule 11 sanctions would be unavailable precisely when they are most needed. When a claim is so lacking a legal or factual merit that it must be dismissed on the pleadings, the Rule 11 plaintiffs appear to believe that they should be able to levy baseless claims in federal court, accompanied by a full court press in the media designed to eviscerate the character of their opponent. Here, a woman... Let's just see here. Here, a woman claiming she was sexually harassed and retaliated against in a brutal covert digital media campaign that continues to this day. Oh, no way. She still thinks it's going on. She still thinks it's happening. They brush aside concerns about frivolous causes of action, asserting that discovery and motion practice will sort out what is and is not viable in the 224-page FAC, shifting their Rule 11 obligations to Miss Lively in the court. The Rule 11 plaintiffs are not only wrong on the law, their arguments are also offensive to the administration of justice. They conflate unsuccessful claims with sanctionable claims as if these two things are mutually exclusive. Of course, not all meritless claims are sanctionable, but the fact that a claim is meritless does not mean it cannot simultaneously be sanctionable. In all cases, plaintiffs must have an objectively reasonable factual and legal basis and a proper purpose for suing in federal court, and the Rule 11 plaintiffs have neither. This is wild. Wow, this woman is really pushing it. I mean, she just doesn't know when to take the win, I guess. What is going on? Asking for more. If he wanted to reply to those sanctions and those motions, he would have done it. It was 130 pages. You think he just forgot? He just forgot that? So you're going to really go in now and poke around? I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad. And now knowing what the judge, where the judge is at, I can't even predict. But this is just so, oh my God. This is petty, baseless. She's already filed this. They're refiling it again, asking for sanctions. I think she is just now high up on her little high horse and ooh, I hope the judge sees right through this for what it is. It's just cray-cray. Please, if you haven't watched my videos on what has happened to Brett Douglas McDowell as well as his wife, Itko Ishiwata, please go. It is so important. This is a pattern that they've been allowed to get away with. First, the Deadpool franchise. Then Blake did it on The Age of Adeline. That's already come out that she kind of took over the post. It was a disaster, apparently. Then they went and did it to these gamers. And now they're doing it to Justin Baldoni and Wayfair. This is a pattern of narcissistic abuse, power, money-hungry control, and there are so many other players involved. And I hope more and more and more people find out about this story. And really, really, please go and support Brett and Aiko the way that we are supporting Justin Baldoni and Wayfair, because the same things just happened to them just a few years ago, and they are still fighting it to this day. Okay, y'all. Well, that's all from me today. So I just want to leave you guys with a little bit. I hope it becomes a little bit of a inspiring story, but I don't really know. Yesterday was a real heavy day. Okay, let me just straight off the bat. Let me just tell you, it was a heavy day. Okay, so wake up, get woken up at about 8:45 from the dog, and she's crying. She has to go outside. So I'm like, let's go. Bounce out of bed. Let's do it. Well, she had the poopy popes, okay? The poops, big time. And usually she never makes an accident. But we're going down the hall. It's a condo building, right? Going down the hall. And right before we get to the elevators, she looks back at me. And I'm like, no. And yeah, she just diarrheas all over the carpet in the hallway of the building. And she's just looking back at me. And it's early in the morning. I just bounced out of bed, and now there's a big pile of just diarrhea. Okay? So I rush her out. We still skip past that, go down, bring her out, come back in. Then I gotta bring her inside here. I get the cleaning stuff, air freshener, go out, and now I'm scrubbing diarrhea from the carpet. Super early in the morning. And I was like, you know what? This isn't going to be my day. I'm not going to wake up like this. This is not going to be my day. So I went back to bed. I was like, I don't have that much stuff to do today, so let me just chill. But I know for sure I'm not going to wake up like that. I'm not waking up cleaning up diarrhea. Okay? So I go back to bed. A couple hours later, maybe an hour and a half later, dog's crying again. She needs to go out. I mowed her. Okay, we make it outside. Everything's great. I'm like, okay, this is good. Come back in, use the bathroom. I get my lady time. Full period. I was like, nope. This is not going to be. I was like, can I just wake up okay? So I'm like, oh, it's going to be a day. And I already know that when I get my lady time, like the first day, I got to be so much more gentle with myself, so much more patient with myself. For some reason, it's just, I just have to love myself a little bit more. A lot more, actually. So I was like, you know what? F this, F that, first is the poop, now I got my period. I was just like, no, I'm not waking up like this. So then I go back to bed. I was like, I don't care if I sleep all day until I wake up and I feel good. So go back to bed for a couple hours, and then I wake up. Now it's late in the day, and I'm like trying to not feel guilty about sleeping in, doing this, but I just wasn't with it, you know? So get up. I'm laying in bed, and I was like, maybe I'll just Netflix and chill all day, which would have been fine, you know? And then I was like, let me just check the court dockets. Let's see what's up. Maybe I'll do a little episode. What we got going on? What's popping? And then I see the judge's opinion and order for all the cases to get dismissed. And I was just like, oh, okay. So it's just going to be one of these days, no matter what. So I was like, okay. Even then, I didn't even want to read it. I didn't want to do anything. And then I was like, let me just scroll through social media. Of course, social media was not good. You know, a lot of bad stories were coming at me, a lot of things going on in the world. Oh, I was just like, okay, that's not good. And I was like, let me just do something. And I was like, okay. And this is how I push myself. I was like, just do the dishwasher. If you just do the dishwasher, job done today. You did something. So I did. I unloaded the dishwasher. And then I was like, just do a workout, no matter what it is. And yesterday I was supposed to start a new 5-week workout challenge. I was like, just do the workout. I was like, maybe I'll just do like 30 minutes of yoga. And then somewhere I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to do that day 1 of the workout. And it was hard. But then I did the workout. And then I was like, okay, that's 2 things that I did now today, you know? And then I was like, okay, let's just read the court docket. And it's 130 pages. So at this point, it was already like dinner time. So I'm like, let me just read this. And I don't have to do a video. I don't have to be on camera. I don't have to do hair and makeup. Just read it so that you're ready for tomorrow. So then I read through, I was highlighting everything. And then I had my thought, okay, well, just do the video. You don't have to get ready. You don't have to be someone. You don't have to do hair and makeup. You don't have to do any of that. Just sit down and do the video. And I did. And I was a little emotional and a little sad and heavy-hearted because of my day. But then at the end of the day, I felt really good for all of the things that I accomplished when really my mind was telling me not to do anything. Today's a bad day. It's a heavy day. And it really just started with like, okay, well, just do this. Just do that. Just do that. And it was really important, and it is really important for me to like show up for myself. And that's one thing that I want to do, is be consistent on this channel. It's a huge thing that I set out in January when I started posting on YouTube in February, to show up at least on certain days. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then everything that comes after that is kind of like extra, right? So I got to start somewhere. And then, so I was really happy that I just like sat down and then just did it. And I didn't have any pressure of like being somewhere or being someone or having to look a certain way or be at a certain level of energy. And I feel good that I went to bed and I was like, wow, you actually did do things that you weren't going to do. And I talked myself into doing things that a huge voice in my head was telling me that I didn't have to do, but it was important. So I think when you are feeling stuck or down or bogged down, if you can just start with a little bit of action, if you can just be like, okay, well, even though I have this whole list of things to do, which is everyone, right? It's nonstop. It never stops. If I just do this one thing, if I just take this one task, if I just do this one thing and start getting into action, I think you will really shock yourself. And they don't have to be big, huge things. My start yesterday was emptying the dishwasher. And then that led to more and more and more things. And I did take a lot of time to rest, thank gosh, because girl had to be on camera today. I had an audition. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I hope that helps a little bit. But that was my morning yesterday. Boy, oh boy. I was ready to just scream and bawl my eyes out. And I was like, what is today? What is going on? I was like, the diarrhea to the lady time to this, to the motion. I was just like, okay, let's go. But you know, I took a lot of walks and I actually ended up having a beautiful day, and I got to show up here and do it and just be my authentic self and not fake it and be someone, you know, I didn't force myself to be someone that I wasn't at that time. I met myself where I was. So I don't know. That's just what I'm going to leave you with. If you're ever feeling like stuck or really bogged down, just be gentle with yourself. Give yourself extra love when you're feeling like that, because it's probably something that you need, is just to know that you're still supported by you and by the universe and by your God, and that you're not alone, and that you just need to love yourself a little bit more. And then just try that. Okay, let's just do this one thing. Just what's next? What's next? What are little things that you can do to try to get yourself into action so that you could, you know, continue to move forward, if you will. So anyway, that was a little bit about my day yesterday. Oh my gosh, the diarrhea was just crazy. And I'm not even a good like pooper scooper, you know? This isn't my dog. This is my housemate's dog. And she's cute. We're besties. We've been besties since we met in January. But even when I'm like picking up just like solid poop, I'm a gagging. I don't like it. It's not for me, okay? And so then doing the diarrhea yesterday at like the wee hours in the morning, was not good. It was not good. I was not enjoying it. So I had to keep going. I was determined. I was like, I am not getting out of this bed until I wake up and I feel good enough to at least do something and like at least feel like good, you know, and not guilty or not bad or angry or bitter or anything like that. So anyway, that's my story. I hope you're having a good day today. I hope a little bit of this kind of helps. Brian Freedman is on the case. I mean, this was a huge, huge, huge battle that they knew immediately, and we'll see what they come back with. But I have a feeling it's going to be big, and it's going to tie in a lot of pieces, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Taylor Swift texts in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they really fight the fake lawsuit and sham subpoena, and that the gloves now will come off. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But let me know what y'all think. Thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.